When a person comes to know love, they risk carrying hate. And this is very much true in the game of football too. Let's talk about the 8 most hated football players of all time. Everyone loves a biter, but mostly in bed, not on the field. And that brings us up on our number 8, Luis Suarez. Suarez's arrival blew a strong wind through Barcelona's sails. Suarez gave that deadly attack persistence, allowing Messi and Neymar to take advantage of the space created by Suarez's persistent teasing of defenders. He's every defender's worst nightmare, and for a good cause. Suarez is a serial biter who moved from Ajax to Liverpool to continue his career. According to Suarez's version of events, when Chiellini purposefully raised his shoulders to knock off Suarez's tooth, it was adorable to see him holding his teeth. After a few years, he racially attacked Patrice Evra and refused to shake his hand. He was suspended for 8 games by the Football Association. Suarez is despised for his heroic last-ditch goal line clearing, which knocked Ghana out of the 2010 World Cup with his own hand of God moment. Well, whatever the reason is, we still can't ignore the fact that he bit 3 players in his career. I'm a little scared for his wife, but maybe she's fond of the biting. Who am I to say anything? On number 7, we have Patrice Evra. This is someone who has a not-so-good history with Suarez, and I also believe that it's a little unfair to put him on the list. But this is just the court of public opinion, and if people hate him, then my hands are tied. The revolutionary leader of the rebellious coup d'etat tore apart the French national squad, resulting in Les Bleus' elimination from the 2010 World Cup group stage. The French became the laughingstock of the tournament, infuriating every one of France's regulatory bodies, including the supporters. His 5-match suspension was insufficient to appease the French. In 2011, Patrice Evra was the target of a racial remark by Luis Suarez. In 2017, Evra kicked a fan who was arguing outside the advertising board's safety. He made a homophobic remark about PSG being knocked out of the Champions League by Manchester United, saying, "Paris, you're queers." In his quickness in waving the race card whenever the opportunity presents itself has estranged him from their hearts. Liverpool fans already hated him, but he just became an easy target of many people after all this. Next up, we have someone who's really similar to Messi, or I would say that Messi is quite similar to him, even when talking about his playing style. If you haven't guessed already then, I'm talking about then on number 6 we have Diego Maradona. He's one of the greatest players in history, and he's also on this list. Sometimes being best also makes you hate it. Maradona was the epicenter of a massive riot that took place in front of the entire nation in the final of the 1984 Copa del Rey, leaving 60 people hurt, including players and staff. There was no love for Maradona in Spain, so he moved to Napoli, where he began his spiral into immorality. And it's his inheritance in Brazil to be despised. Millions of English fans were outraged when Diego Maradona single-handedly inspired Argentina to win the 1986 FIFA World Cup, a punch felt by millions of English fans who demanded retribution for the hand of God. The most famous goal in football history was when he punched the ball into the net and referred to the moment as hand of God in his post-match comments. He was adored in Italy, particularly in Naples, where he was revered as a demigod. Maradona scored the crucial goal in the penalty shootout that put Italy out of the tournament in Naples, and it turned sour as well. Being great could also be a problem sometimes. On number 5, we have Ryan Giggs. Ryan Giggs, who has won 34 titles for Manchester United, is possibly the most famous player in the club's history. But it's not because of his brilliant career or his record-breaking 13 Premier League titles that he ranked 5th on this list. Having an affair with the wife of one of his teammates, John Terry, is regarded as a shame. If Terry's deed was betrayal, Giggs' acts when he bedded his brother Rodri's wife, Natasha, were heretical. When Natasha was Rodri's girlfriend, the Welshmen began their 8-year relationship, which continued even after Natasha and Rodri married. When Natasha found out she was pregnant only 2 weeks before her wedding to his brother, Giggs persuaded her to have the pregnancy terminated. When his brother approached Giggs with evidence in 2011, he explained it as just sex. His extramarital polyamorous existence overshadows his on-field accomplishments, and he deserves every ounce of abuse directed at him. Well, moving on to number 4, we got El Hadji Diouf. And what can I say? You see for yourself. Mr. Senegal is a complete nut. The 2-time African Footballer of the Year has been surrounded by controversy all of his life. Infractions with the law, disagreements with referees, brawls in nightclubs, verbal abuse, and even racial abuse directed at an Everton ball boy for which he claimed innocence, claiming it was the other way around. He's undoubtedly a nuisance on and off the pitch, especially with his spitting problem. His performance at the 2002 World Cup drew praise, and he was named to the tournament's best team on merit. It got to him and he still thinks he's larger than the game, spitting on spectators and players with no remorse. Neil Warnock avoided referring to Diop as a sewer rat because he believed it would be insulting to sewer rats. That's who El Hadji Diop is in a nutshell. Gone case, and I rest my case. But number 3, we got one more legend whose name is down in history. We have Pepe, the football gymnast. His disciplinary record of 113 cautions and 6 red cards doesn't reflect the level of lunacy he brings on the field. The referees are baffled by his acrobatic demonstrations. When Javi Casquero was virtually 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, Pepe nudged him out of stride, swung his leg to grab both the ball and the player, and then continued his rampage with another swing to scrape the side of Casquero with the studs. His disregard for an opponent's safety is enough to get him kicked out of football. It's perplexing that he was permitted to pursue a career as a professional football player. Many people out there love his play, but this brutality is something that no one can bear. Moving on to number 2, we have Adam Johnson. After being found guilty of sex crimes involving a minor, he was banned from playing football in England. Adam Johnson pleaded guilty to 1 count of grooming and 1 count of sexual activity with a little under the age of 16 in England, where the legal age of consent is 16. He kissed the minor and brought him into his car to autograph the shirts just 9 days after having a child with his now ex-wife. His wife was heartbroken when it was later found that he had multiple extramarital encounters. She was pregnant with another Adam Johnson kid, but she chose to terminate it rather than bring another child into this heinous scenario. After serving half of his time in prison, Adam Johnson was freed after 3 years. He is, without a doubt, football's most despised figure. These are some serious charges, and after that, people have a good reason to hate him. Moving on to the most hated player in the history of football, we have Joey Barton. He was also featured in the list of 7 players who spent time in jail, so you can watch that too if you like. Barton has a short fuse and frequently lets the cannon go off. If a scuffle breaks out into the field, Barton has a moral obligation to break it up. Such feelings are perverted and oppressive in the eyes of a neutral, but never in supporters' eyes. Barton has issues with authority, squaring up to a referee at every opportunity. After stabbing a lit cigar into the eyes of a youth squad member, he departed Manchester City without fanfare and returned to exact revenge on his former club, elbowing Tevez, kneeing Aguero, and headbutting company. His brawls extend beyond the field, with him picking fights just for the sake of it. His most heinous conduct was punching his then teammate Ousmane Dabo to the ground and striking him repeatedly even after Dabo has lost consciousness. Throwing a punch is emotional, but going on a rampage is criminal, earning him the #1 spot on the list of most despised players. Now, you guys tell us which one of these players you hate the most in the comments. This is all for today, but as there is always something more to learn about football, here are some videos you can see. On the left, we have 7 football records that'll never be broken, and on the right, we have 7 football players who have been in jail. I look forward to seeing you there. Bye-bye.